Atlanta had been treating me so well lately. You'd think I'd finally figured out the secret cheat code to adulthood. Shop about to open? Check. Bills paid up? Check. Eating good? Sleeping even better? Check, check. My only concern on this particular Thursday was whether I should get a second serving of peach cobbler. That is, until trouble strolled up in skinny jeans and an attitude. There I was, tucked in my favorite little diner, minding my business, fork loaded up with more calories than my trainer would allow, when I felt that stare. You know the one, burns hotter than a flat iron left on too long. My eyes drifted up, slow and unbothered, to find the source. She was small, blonde, and giving mean girl who peaked in high school energy. Arms folded tight enough to squeeze juice from a rock, lips so glossy they could blind a bat. She looked like she was ready to flip my table, and I hadn't even finished my first plate. "You really got some nerve," she snapped. I looked around, just to make sure she wasn't talking to a more dramatic version of me. "For eating?" She rolled her eyes so hard I thought she'd see her own childhood. "For messing with my girl!" I chewed slowly, fighting the urge to smirk. "Sorry, not ringing any bells." She flashed her phone at me. Sure enough, there's a selfie of her ex snuggled up in my bed, looking happier than a dog on a road trip. "Oh, her?" I shrugged, finally. That was a while ago. "Don't worry, I blocked her. She can go back to haunting your phone, not mine." She sucked her teeth, clearly expecting a fight. "She said you—" I cut her off with a lazy wave. "She probably said I chased her, right?" "Sweetheart, the only thing I chase is my dreams and maybe some hot sauce if it's on sale." Her nostrils flared. "You think you're funny?" I set down my fork. "I mean, people pay me for jokes, but today's free sample is over. I'm trying to finish my food, and I'm pretty sure your ex would tell you I'm not the one for drama." She started to speak again, but backup arrived. 2 more women, twins in energy and bad attitude. "You really want to do this?" I asked, standing, all curves and calm confidence. "You do realize it's too early for this much reality TV, right?" Her friend whispered, "Come on, Nicole, let's go. She's not worth it." Nicole, bless her persistent heart, wasn't ready to give up. "We're not scared of you." I grinned, flashing a little dimple. "Then why are you standing so far away?" They hesitated. I brushed imaginary dust off my jacket and stepped around them, grabbing my to-go box. "If y'all want a real fight, catch me after dessert. Otherwise, go fix your homegirl's broken heart." That's above my pay grade. As I walked out, the cook peeked from the kitchen and gave me a little nod. Even he knew, in Atlanta, some days you eat drama for breakfast. But today, I was just hungry for peach cobbler and a fresh start. On to bigger things. Tonight was it. The grand opening of Velvet Ember. My own spot. My rules. My name on the lease. No partners. No drama. Just pure, grown woman energy. The shop was wall to wall with Atlanta's finest. Ladies with style, swag, and enough confidence to make the city's humidity jealous. Velvet curtains, gold accents, and low golden lighting made everyone look about 3 pay grades richer. The air was thick with the scent of high-end smoke, laughter, and the low thrum of beats that said, "We're here to celebrate and maybe misbehave." My best friend Lexi Harper, pronounced my personal tornado, was already halfway through my stash of snacks. She'd flown in from LA for the opening, crashed on my couch, and raided my fridge like she was in a post-apocalyptic grocery run. "Big boss moves, Sloane!" Lexi grinned, clinking her glass with mine and almost spilling it. "This place is sexy as hell. I might never go home. I gave her the side eye. Keep eating all my chips, and you're getting an invoice. Airbnb isn't that expensive. She stuck out her tongue and grinned wider. You love me. Against my better judgment, I shot back, sipping my drink. The crowd was a who's who of Atlanta's hottest. Suit and tie types, ladies who could buy me twice and still have change left for brunch. Streetwear queens, hair laid, kicks clean, with that don't try me walk. Creative wild cards, the artists, the DJs, the ones who always have the best weed and the messiest drama. And, of course, my favorites. The soft stud dimes and curvy femmes, passing glances and sharing knowing smiles. No matter the style, the one thing they all had in common? Money to spend and eyes that kept finding me. Lexi elbowed me. You see that one over there? She nodded toward the door, and that's when she walked in. Tall, mocha skin, arms covered in beautiful ink, her locks pulled back under a black chef's bandana. The whole room seemed to pause for a second, just to take her in. That was Nia Chef Robinson, legend in Atlanta's food scene, known for her spicy jerk chicken and even spicier reputation. I'd heard about her, but up close? Phew. My knees considered quitting. Chef strolled to the counter, looking like she owned the place. You the boss? Her voice was a little raspy, deep and smooth, like the first drag off a perfect blunt. Somebody's gotta be, I answered, fighting the urge to bite my lip. She grinned, checking out the menu, and her eyes flicked back to mine. Let me get a pre-roll pack and a little of the house blend. And if there's a private room, I'll take that too. I smirked, leaning on the counter. Private rooms are booked, unless you want a session with the owner. Chef raised an eyebrow, not missing a beat. That's exactly what I want. Cash changed hands. Electricity crackled in the air. I led her through the velvet curtains to the back. I could feel her watching every move I made. Inside the private lounge, deep sofas, golden glow, incense burning just sweet enough to make the place feel like heaven with a side of trouble. I set out the goods, moving slow, giving her a little show without even trying. You looking to relax, or you looking for something deeper? She sat, legs spreading comfortably, confidence oozing. Little of both, but mostly, I wanted to meet the woman running all this. I tried to keep it cool, but the chemistry was thick enough to bottle. Conversation rolled easy, about business, about food, about what it's like being a boss in a city that never sleeps. And then, as the smoke curled and the lights got lower, she brushed my hand, gentle, warm, deliberate. No rush, no pressure, just a spark that said, hey, if you're down, I'm down. We didn't jump into anything. Sometimes the best moments are the ones where the air just sizzles. She smiled, slow and knowing. You got a way about you, Sloane, Chef said, voice low. If this is how you treat your guests, I might have to come back every week. I laughed, but inside, my heart did a little somersault. I'll save your spot. When the night ended, Chef disappeared into the Atlanta night, but her number was saved in my phone, just in case. As I locked up, Lexi winked. That's how you do an opening, big boss. Yeah, this was the start of something special, and I was just getting warmed up. Late nights in Atlanta always looked the same inside Reverend Dana Ellis's quiet home. Silk robe, lamp burning low, laptop open on her mahogany desk. From the pulpit, she was all about grace and composure. Alone in her study? The only thing holy was her Wi-Fi connection. And tonight, Dana wasn't searching for inspiration. She was searching for her. Violet Muse, the most captivating woman Dana had ever seen, on or offline. Behind the lace mask and a voice like honey over whiskey, Violet kept her fans coming back for more. Tips, messages, private video chats. Violet made everyone feel special, but Dana? Dana sent just a little more. Longer messages, bolder confessions, tips big enough to raise an eyebrow at the church's finance meeting. As Violet's latest video played, Dana leaned closer, caught up in every move, every word. The way Violet commanded the camera made Dana forget about the world outside her walls, about the sermons she was supposed to write, about the ring on her finger. It wasn't just lust, it was longing, a pull she couldn't explain, and honestly, didn't want to. Dana knew the risk. She wasn't supposed to be here, crossing this line. But the more she watched, the less she cared. She wanted Violet, her attention, her voice, her secret world. And for once, the preacher was tired of being the one making all the rules. Tonight, she sent Violet another tip and a private message. What would it take for me to meet you, even just once? She hit send, heart pounding. For the first time in forever, Dana Ellis wasn't praying for forgiveness. She was praying for a reply. Meanwhile, across town, Sloane, aka Violet Muse, saw the notification flash across her screen. The name was different, but she knew exactly who it was. The anonymous account with the generous tips, the messages that sometimes read like poetry, sometimes like confessions. Sloane smiled to herself. Preachers and sinners, her inbox was full of both. But something about this one felt different. Maybe it was time to break her no real-life clients rule. Just this once. The games, it seemed, were only just beginning. Sloane Carter lived her life in two modes: boss of Velvet Ember by day and the elusive Violet Muse by night. Her apartment, the one she used for work, was all mood lighting, velvet, gold accents, and big candles that made everyone look like 1,000,000 likes on Instagram. Tonight, Sloane wasn't just prepping for another video. She was prepping for a live, in-person session, a total rarity. But the offer from her mysterious favorite subscriber, now known to be Dana, was just too intriguing to pass up. She checked the room. NDA printed and on the table. No personal items or phones allowed beyond the front door. Mask and playlist ready. All boundaries crystal clear in her head. Knock, knock. Sloane adjusted her lace mask, took a calming breath, and opened the door. There stood Reverend Dana Ellis, just as striking in person. Tall, broad-shouldered, a confidence honed by years at the pulpit, but eyes full of nerves tonight. Sloane kept it cool. "Come in, shoes off, please, and sign this." She handed Dana the NDA. "No face in the shots, no recording, no funny business. My rules, or it doesn't happen." Dana took a deep breath, read every line, then signed. "No problem. I respect your boundaries, Violet." "Good." Sloane gestured to the coat rack. "Leave your phone, wallet, and that preacher's guilt right there by the door." Dana smiled, maybe a little nervously. "Deal." Inside the apartment, the world slowed down. Just the sound of soft music and their quiet, measured breathing. Sloane led Dana to the lounge area, poured her a glass of wine, and sat beside her. Close enough to sense the tension, not close enough to break it. You ever done something like this? Sloane asked. Dana shook her head, her preacher's voice much quieter than usual. Never, but I couldn't stop thinking about you, about this. Sloane smirked. You're not the first preacher to end up in my DMs, but you are the first to make me curious. They talked, really talked, about the thrill of secrets, the weight of expectations, and the weird power of feeling truly seen by someone who shouldn't know you at all. Eventually, Sloane moved closer, her hand resting gently on Dana's thigh. Here's my only other rule. I'm in control. You follow my lead. No drama, no sermons, no falling in love. Dana nodded, her smile a little more relaxed. Cross my heart. What happened after that was slow, exploratory. A touch, a kiss, a long embrace, the kind of intimacy that's less about bodies and more about trust. Nothing explicit, nothing to confess except maybe how good it felt to just be. When it was over, Sloane pulled off her mask just enough to flash a genuine smile. Don't get used to this, she teased. I don't do repeats. Dana only grinned, gathering her things. I won't tell if you don't. But as the door closed behind her, both women were already wondering, what if the rules don't stick? If you ever wondered why I'm so obsessed with keeping my own space, let's rewind the tape to a much younger me. Before the boss moves, before Velvet Ember, before the Velvet Mask, back then, my world was a 2-bedroom apartment in East Atlanta. Dad worked 2 jobs, janitor by night, handyman by day, always coming home smelling like a combo of pine sol and tired dreams. He believed in tough love, and he doled it out like his favorite dessert. One particular summer night, I'd just finished hiding my blunt in an old shoebox, with a scented dryer sheet, thank you very much. I was about to kick my feet up when Dad's heavy footsteps echoed down the hall. Door swings open. No knock, because boundaries were something he thought only rich people had. You decent? He grumbled. Yeah, Dad. He took up the whole doorway, arms folded, wearing that ancient Atlanta Braves hat he swore was lucky. He eyed me like he could see through my entire life and the wall behind me. You been smoking? Nah, just reading, I lied, holding up a random book like it was my shield. He snorted. Girl, you ain't slick. Your mama used to think she was slick too, but I always knew. That was the thing about my father. He never let me get too comfortable. The message was always, don't let your guard down. Don't get too attached. Don't let anybody have something over you. The world will try to control you, Sloane. Don't ever let it. Maybe that's why, years later, my best friend Lexi would joke, you're the only person I know who puts a lock on a snack cabinet and her heart. I'd laugh it off, but there's truth in it. After Mom left, ran off, or just got tired, I never got the full story. It was just me and Dad, 2 stubborn people with too many secrets. He'd teach me how to fix a leaky sink, change a tire, cook a halfway decent meal. So you never need to call nobody for help. That independence, that drive to handle everything myself, I wore it like armor. So when women try to get too close, when Chef flashes that smile, or Reverend Dana sends those midnight messages, I can feel that little voice inside whispering, careful, girl. Don't let them in unless you're ready to pay the price. And most of the time, I listen. Most of the time. But lately, with Chef's lingering looks and Dana's confessions burning a hole in my DMs, I'm starting to wonder what would happen if I finally let somebody crack the code. People in Atlanta know me for my hands, steady enough to slice the thinnest jalapeno, bold enough to work a grill, and lately, itching to reach for something other than a spatula. The kitchen at Smoke and Spice is chaos on a Saturday night. Tickets flying, fryers popping, my line cooks barely holding it together. But even while I'm sending out plates, my mind keeps drifting back to Velvet Ember, to Sloane Carter's easy smile, and the way she held eye contact like she was testing my soul for weak spots. After close, I pull off my apron, lock up, and text Sloane. "You around tonight? Could use a wind down, or at least a drink that didn't come out of a plastic jug." She replies quick, "Come by, we got peach sangria and good company. And if you play your cards right, maybe some real food." 20 minutes later, I'm sliding into Velvet Ember's back lounge. Sloane's perched at the end of the bar, Lexi beside her. The vibe is low-key, small crowd, everyone buzzed, laughter curling around the tables like smoke. Lexi grins. "Chef in the house!" Sloane's been pretending not to look at the door every 5 minutes. Sloane shoots her a warning glare but can't hide her smile. "Ignore her. Want a drink?" "Only if you join me." I shrug out of my jacket and settle beside her. Our arms touch, just enough to say, "Hey, I see you," without making a scene. We talk shop, her business, my restaurant. We talk about family, about what it's like to be the one everyone depends on. There's an easy rhythm, like we've known each other for years, not weeks. Then, mid-conversation, the door opens. In walks Reverend Dana Ellis, in street clothes, her energy all kinds of restless. She scans the room, spots Sloane, and hesitates. Just a moment. Lexi, always reading the drama, perks up. "Oh, is that your church friend, Sloane?" Sloane gives her a look that could freeze sweet tea. "She's just someone I know from around." Dana nods at us, but her eyes stay on Sloane a second too long. I know a thing or two about chemistry, and there's enough in that glance to spice a whole menu. I keep it cool. "You gonna introduce us?" Sloane, caught, fumbles for only half a second. "Nia, this is Dana. Dana, this is Nia. The best chef in Atlanta, and my occasional bad influence." Dana smiles, controlled. "Nice to meet you." We shake hands, and I can't help but notice how tightly she holds on, like she's trying to send a message, hands off. "Well, this just got interesting." Sloane clears her throat, changing the subject, but Lexi's loving every second. Later, as I'm leaving, I lean in close to Sloane, voice low. "Your friend's got a little bite. Didn't take you for the church girl type." Sloane laughs, shaking her head. "Don't read into it. Atlanta's just a small city with big secrets." "Yeah," I say, "but some secrets are worth chasing." I walk out grinning, the triangle's set, and if there's one thing I know about Sloane Carter, she loves a little heat. Atlanta's got 3 seasons: summer, pollen, and drama. Tonight, Velvet Ember was running hot on all 3. After Chef left, Lexi kept throwing sly glances my way, the kind only best friends can get away with. "So, you gonna tell me what's up with you and Nia?" she asked, swirling her sangria. "Mind your business and go eat some chips," I shot back, but she wasn't having it. "Don't play. I see how you look at her. You got that, should I risk it all face." I tried to laugh it off, but truth was, I hadn't felt this much energy since my first big heartbreak. Chef was everything I pretended not to want. Bold, talented, the kind of woman who doesn't ask for permission to take up space. She was good at reading people too. That made her dangerous. And now there was Dana, lingering at the edge of the bar, tracing circles on her glass. I felt her watching me, every nerve in my body alive and exposed. When Lexi finally wandered off to mingle, Dana slid into the seat beside me, her perfume soft but sharp, like lilies and secrets. "You okay?" I asked. Dana smiled, tight and brittle. "I should be asking you that." I sipped my drink, letting the silence settle between us. "Didn't expect to see you here on a Friday." She shrugged. "Sometimes you just need to be somewhere that isn't church. Besides, you invited me once, remember?" I glanced at her, and here I thought you'd forgotten. Dana shook her head, her eyes shining in the low light. "No, I remember a lot more than I should." For a moment, it was just the two of us in the world, the thump of bass and laughter fading into white noise. She reached for my hand, fingers brushing mine, quick, gentle, enough to send a spark up my arm. "You know, this can't get serious," I whispered. She squeezed my hand. "Maybe not, but can we pretend, just for tonight?" I didn't answer with words. Instead, I let her lead me to the quiet lounge in the back, where shadows danced across the walls and the city outside felt 1,000 miles away. We sat close, too close. We talked about everything and nothing, confessions spilling out in bits and pieces. She told me about her fears, about the pressure to be perfect, about the loneliness that came with always having to be strong. I told her about my father, about velvet ember, about the kind of love that burns hot and never seems to last. And in the hush between words, we just were. It wasn't about sex, not tonight. It was about feeling seen, holding someone else's truth for a while, and daring to hope the world might be big enough to let us have this moment. When Dana finally left, she kissed my cheek, soft, careful, almost reverent. "Good night, Sloane." I watched her walk away, heart pounding, mind spinning. Back at the bar, Lexi smirked. "Girl, you are in trouble." She wasn't wrong. Because for the first time in a long time, I wanted more. I never liked surprises unless they came on a plate. So, when I walked into Velvet Ember after my shift and spotted Sloane tucked in the corner with Reverend Dana, hands close, heads even closer, it felt like biting into a pepper and getting a mouthful of seeds. Instant heat. Sloane looked up, eyes wide. Dana turned, all calm and Sunday morning smile, but her body language was screaming, "Claim!" And Lexi, bless her petty soul, clocked it instantly. "Chef, didn't think you'd swing through this late," Lexi called out, voice loud enough to make heads turn. "Had to see if the rumors were true," I replied, keeping my tone light, but my eyes stayed on Sloane. Sloane slid out from behind the table, smoothing her dress, cheeks slightly flushed. "Hey, Nia, wasn't sure if you'd make it." Dana stood up too, every inch of her suddenly official. "We were just talking." I gave her my best chef's smile, the one I use before sending out a dish I know is going to ruin someone's life. "Oh, I bet you were." Lexi, now sipping her drink like it's a front row seat, raised her brow. "We doing introductions again? Or should we just let y'all arm wrestle for Sloane?" Sloane glared at her. "Don't start." Dana tried to keep her cool, but her jaw tightened just enough. "You two know each other well, huh?" I shrugged. "We go way back, and I'm not really the jealous type, unless I need to be." Sloane tried to laugh it off, but the tension was thick. "Can we not make this weird?" "Not making it weird," I said, "just making sure the good Reverend knows what she's signing up for." Dana crossed her arms, meeting my gaze. And what's that supposed to mean? I leaned in, dropping my voice low. Means Sloane's not a prize. She's a person. She makes her own choices. Dana bristled, but Sloane stepped between us, hands up. That's enough. I'm not asking anybody to fight over me. This isn't high school, and it's definitely not Sunday service or the kitchen at Smoke and Spice. Can we just be adults? Lexi, clearly loving the drama, whistled. Girl, I need popcorn. I caught Sloane's eye, saw how tired she looked, and softened just a bit. All right, you're right. My bad. Just don't want you getting hurt. Dana nodded, her voice quieter now. Me neither. Sloane shook her head, half laughing, half exasperated. Y'all are gonna make me run off and join a convent. Lexi snorted. They'd kick you out by brunch. For the rest of the night, we tried to keep it light, but something had shifted. Sloane was quieter, and Dana left early. I stayed behind, helping close up, wondering when the last time I let someone get this far under my skin. When I finally headed out, I paused at the door and looked back at Sloane, who was wiping down the counter, lost in thought. Sloane, I said, voice gentle. If you ever need to talk about anything, I'm here. No judgment, just you. She smiled, small and real. Thanks, Nia. Don't go disappearing, okay? I grinned, flicked her a salute, and disappeared into the warm Atlanta night, heart a little heavier than before. Cleaning up after closing time is supposed to be my meditation. A broom in one hand, a playlist in my ear, nobody around to ask for anything. But tonight, peace wasn't on the menu. My mind was bouncing between Chef's heated stare and the way Dana's fingers lingered on mine, like she was praying for a sign, and I was the answer. I barely noticed Lexi had slipped back in until she started fake coughing in the doorway. If you scrub that countertop any harder, you're gonna discover oil in the floorboards. I rolled my eyes. Go home, Lex. I'm not in the mood. She hopped up on the bar anyway, feet swinging, grinning like a gremlin who'd just eaten all my snacks, which, to be fair, she had. Nope, not until you tell me what's really going on. You got a whole Netflix series happening in here, and I'm just supposed to watch the trailer? I wiped my hands on a towel. It's not that deep, Lexi snorted. Sloane, you had 2 women about to go full Real Housewives over you in the span of 15 minutes. That's peak triangle. So, who's it gonna be? Chef, with those arms, and that I'll cook for you at midnight energy? Or the good Reverend with her emotional confessions and I can save your soul and break your heart eyes? I didn't answer right away. The silence stretched. Lexi led it. She's always been good at that, waiting me out. I don't know, Lex, I admitted, dropping onto the stool beside her. Chef is easy. She's real. She gets my grind. But Dana, there's something about her. She sees right through me, like she knows all my secrets, and she still wants more. Lexi leaned in, her tone softer now. So what's the problem? I hesitated, looking down at my hands. I'm scared. What if I pick wrong? What if I mess up the one real connection I've had in years? What if I let either of them in, and they see all the cracks? She bumped my shoulder. Newsflash, you're allowed to be messy, Sloane. That's how you know it's real. But if you keep hiding behind your boss routine, you're gonna end up alone with nothing but empty rolling papers and my texts roasting you for being a chicken. That got a laugh out of me. Finally, you're the worst. She grinned. And you love me? I nudged her back. Unfortunately. Lexi hopped off the bar and headed for the door. pausing just long enough to look back. You don't have to figure it all out tonight, but don't let fear make your decisions for you. Pick who makes you feel like your best self, not just the one who makes your heart race. And if all else fails, you could always become a nun. I threw a bar rag at her head. She dodged, laughing all the way out. Alone again, I let myself feel it all. The anxiety, the excitement, the hope. I pulled out my phone, scrolled through my messages. Chef, hope your night ended better than it started. Let me know if you need anything. Dana, thank you for tonight. I needed that more than you know. 2 women, 2 different worlds. And me stuck right in the middle, scared to choose, but even more scared to lose. Tomorrow, I promised myself. Tomorrow, I'd stop running. But tonight, I just let myself feel it. Sundays at New Light Fellowship were supposed to be predictable. Hymns, handshakes, and a sea of polite smiles. But lately, every scripture about temptation sounded like it was aimed at me. And every time I closed my eyes to pray, I saw Sloane's instead. After service, I ducked out of the sanctuary, dodging the congregation's just checking on you hugs. I didn't need advice, I needed clarity. Or maybe, finally, a little risk. Back in my office, I sat at my desk and stared at my phone. Sloane's number sat there, daring me to cross a line. I thought about her laugh, the way she stood her ground between me and Chef, the way her guard would drop when she thought no one was looking. If I wanted something real, I'd have to stop hiding behind screens and sermons. I typed, deleted, then typed again. Can we talk? In person? No games, just us. Seconds ticked by. My hands shook. But finally, 3 little dots danced. And then, name the place and time. I picked a little coffee shop downtown, neutral territory, no chance of a congregation ambush, and nobody would care if the preacher had a long conversation with a friend. When Sloane arrived, she looked wary but determined. We sat in the corner, out of earshot, nursing lattes that neither of us really touched. She broke the silence first. What's going on, Dana? Why here? I took a breath, pushing past the nerves. I can't keep pretending. I want you, Sloane. Not in secret, not as some late-night escape. I want to see if this can be real, whatever it is. But I need to know if you feel it too. Her eyes flickered with surprise, then something softer. I do. But your world is complicated, and so is mine. I nodded. I know, but I'm tired of living scared. I don't want to hurt you, or myself, by pretending I can be 2 people forever. I want to try, Sloane. I want to see where this could go. She reached across the table, covering my hand with hers. I can't promise easy, but I can promise honest. For the first time in weeks, I let out a real laugh, relieved, a little shaky, but hopeful. We talked for hours about church, about fear, about everything we were afraid to say in texts. When we left, Sloane hugged me outside longer than necessary and whispered, "Let's see what happens." I watched her walk away, the weight in my chest finally feeling a little lighter. This time, maybe we'd get it right. But I couldn't help glancing over my shoulder, wondering what would happen when Chef found out the preacher was done playing it safe. Atlanta heat has nothing on walking into Velvet Ember and spotting Chef already at the bar, sleeves rolled up, smile gone. She was stirring her drink like it owed her rent money. Lexi caught my arm before I could bolt. "She knows, babe. Might as well face it." I steeled myself, smoothed my dress, and approached the bar. Chef didn't look up. "You gonna order something or just stand there looking guilty?" she asked, her voice calm but sharp. I slid onto the stool next to her, choosing honesty. "I had coffee with Dana. She wants to try something real with me." Chef's jaw tightened, but she kept her gaze on her glass. "Yeah? That before or after she tried to pray the gay away?" I winced. "Nia, come on. You know it's not like that." She finally looked at me, eyes raw. "Do I? Because it feels like every time I get close, you pull away and run right into someone else's arms." Lexi, only pretending to wipe down the counter, made herself very busy in our orbit. She wasn't about to miss a single second. I tried to keep my voice steady. "It's not about Dana being better or you not being enough. I'm just tired of hiding. She's ready to risk it all, and honestly, that scares the hell out of me." Chef set her glass down with a thud. "Sloane, I've never asked you to hide. You could stand on this bar and kiss me in front of everyone. I'd still be proud to call you mine. But you gotta stop running from real. Pick a lane and stay in it, even if it means you're not riding with me." My chest squeezed tight. "I don't want to hurt you. She cut me off, softer now. "Then don't lie to yourself. Or to me. You deserve something that feels like breathing, not something you gotta hide behind closed doors." Lexi leaned in, voice gentle for once. "You don't have to have all the answers tonight, but maybe it's time to stop letting fear make your choices." I looked at Chef, really looked. All that strength, that loyalty, the patience it takes to run a kitchen and love a woman who's still learning how. "I care about you, Nia, a lot. I just don't know if I can be what you need right now." She nodded, a sad smile finally cracking her armor. "That's all I ever wanted, Sloane. The truth." She grabbed her jacket, pausing at the door. "You know where to find me if you ever figure it out." When she left, Lexi slid me a shot. To messy hearts and boss moves. I clinked her glass, unsure if I was celebrating or grieving, maybe both. And as Atlanta's neon lights flickered through the windows, I wondered, was I finally brave enough to choose what or who I really wanted? Or was I about to lose everything for good? It's wild, the things you notice when you finally stop lying to yourself. Like how the choir's harmonies can't drown out the buzz in your own head, or how the same congregation you've loved for years suddenly feels like a crowd at an audition. After my talk with Sloane, I walked into Sunday service feeling lighter. Maybe not floating, but at least a little less like I was dragging a secret behind me. But then came the after-church gossip. A deacon's wife mentioning she'd seen me out with a new friend. A youth pastor's raised eyebrow when he noticed I'd skipped the usual post-service brunch. I brushed it off, kept my smile polished, but inside, my stomach was doing backflips. Later that day, I retreated to my office, locked the door, and stared at my phone. No new messages from Sloane, not since she told me she needed to figure some things out. My pulse picked up. Was this it? Was this where I lose her before we even start? Before I could spiral, my office door burst open. Lexi Harper, storm in sneakers, barreled in with a to-go coffee and zero respect for boundaries. "Pastor Dana, right?" I blinked, caught between panic and confusion. Yes?" She grinned, closing the door behind her. "Relax. I'm not here to confess. I'm here to check on you. Sloane's my best friend, and I don't let her mess up something good without a little interference." I sat back, wary. "And what exactly is your plan?" Lexi slid the coffee onto my desk. My plan is to say this. Sloane is scared. She's been burned before, and sometimes she chooses the hard way over the honest one. But she likes you. Likes you? Don't let her run, and don't wait for her to come chasing either. I was speechless for a second. Lexi Harper, delivering pep talks to the preacher. She waggled her eyebrows. You're braver than you think. And for what it's worth, you make Sloane want to be brave too. Don't give up now. She was gone before I could thank her, leaving a caffeine jolt and a lot to think about. As I looked out my window at the Atlanta skyline, I realized I'd already come too far to back down. Maybe the next move had to be mine. Consequences be damned. I pulled out my phone. Fingers shakes and sent Sloane a message. I'm here. When you're ready. No judgment. No pressure. Just me. I hit send, and this time, I didn't pray for an answer. I just waited, hoping that love, real, messy, terrifying love, wasn't just a sermon, but something we could actually live. There's a certain kind of Atlanta rain that makes the whole city slow down, a heavy, humming downpour that feels like a cosmic reset. I sat by my window at Velvet Ember, watching drops slide down the glass, thinking about every choice that led me here, the walls I built, the hearts I'd bruised, the women who'd asked me to risk something real. My phone buzzed. Dana's message blinked on the screen. I'm here. When you're ready. No judgment. No pressure. Just me. For once, there was no panic, just a deep ache, the kind you get when you know the only thing holding you back is yourself. I dialed Lexi because nobody gives tough love like a best friend with snacks. I need to talk. She was there in 20 minutes, armed with fries and zero patience. So, which lucky lady gets your after the rain speech? I snorted. Not a speech, just, I think I'm done being scared. Lexi kicked off her shoes and curled up next to me. About time? You want me to help you draft a text? Or you going full grown-up? I shook my head, a little smile finally breaking through. I'm going to Dana. In person. I owe her that much. Lexi raised her cup in salute. Do it for all the soft femmes who waited forever for a real answer. I rolled my eyes, but felt lighter. I left Lexi the rest of my fries and braved the storm. Dana's place was quiet, a few lamps glowing in the window. I knocked once, heart hammering so loud I thought she'd hear it through the door. She opened it in sweats, hair up, eyes hopeful, and a little scared. I didn't waste a second. I'm tired of running, Dana. I want this, messy, complicated, real. I want you, if you're still in. Her answer was a soft yes, but it was the way she pulled me inside, hands trembling just a little, that said everything. No games, no more hiding. We sat close on the couch, knees touching. I told her the truth about my fears, about Chef, about all the ways I'd let the past shape me. She told me about her loneliness, her faith, her hopes for something that felt like coming home. There were tears, there was laughter, and somewhere in between, there was a kiss that was so gentle and so sure. I thought maybe, just maybe, this was what it meant to finally choose yourself and someone else at the same time. Later, curled up together, Dana traced circles on my arm and whispered, "What about Chef?" I exhaled. I need to talk to her. She deserves the truth. No more running. Dana nodded. Whatever happens next, I've got you. Outside, the rain started to let up. Inside, for the first time in a long time, I felt free. If I've learned anything in this city, it's that Atlanta doesn't forgive liars, and neither does Chef. Which is why I pulled up to Smoke and Spice on a slow afternoon, heart thumping like I was about to walk into a final exam. She was behind the counter, no apron, sipping sweet tea like it was her armor. When she saw me, her expression didn't change. That hurt worse than if she'd cursed me out. I sat across from her, folding my hands to keep them still. Nia, I owe you the truth. You deserve more than what I gave you. She raised an eyebrow. This should be good. I swallowed hard. I chose Dana. Not because she's better, not because you weren't enough. You are enough. But she makes me want to stop hiding, and I need that right now. Chef studied me, face unreadable. Finally, she leaned back, sighing. I already knew. The second I saw you look at her, I knew. I just wanted to hear you say it. Silence stretched, thick but not cruel. You hurt me, she said finally. But I'm not going to hate you for choosing what you need. That's grown woman business. We all got to do what keeps us sane. I blinked, surprised at the softness under her words. So, we good? She smirked, that old fire flickering. We'll be good. Not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but down the line, yeah. You're not getting rid of me that easy. And don't think I won't still swing through Velvet Ember. Business is business. I laughed, tension breaking. Fair enough. Drinks on the house when you do. As I left, the weight in my chest finally eased. No more half-truths, no more running. Chef had her pride, Dana had my heart, and I, finally, had clarity. Walking out into the Atlanta heat, I realized Lexi was right. Sometimes being messy is the only way to find something real. Dating a preacher wasn't on my vision board, but here we were. Dana and I had been official for all of 3 weeks, and already the city felt different. Velvet Ember felt brighter with her beside me, and my mornings felt lighter when her texts came in before sunrise. But love isn't just late-night kisses and whispered secrets. It's the mess that comes with them. And Dana's mess? It was knocking at our door. One night after closing, Dana came by the lounge, looking polished but worn down. She sat at the bar, ordered water, and just sighed. Rough night? I asked, sliding onto the stool beside her. She nodded, pressing her fingers to her temples. One of my deacons pulled me aside, said folks are starting to notice changes in me. Asked if I was distracted. I arched a brow. Distracted, huh? That the church code word for dating a woman? She gave a tired laugh. Pretty much. I told him it wasn't his business, but I know it won't stop there. I reached for her hand under the counter, squeezing gently. So what do you want to do? Keep this quiet or say it loud? Dana hesitated, and in that pause, I could see the war inside her, the duty, the image, the fear of losing everything she'd built. Before she could answer, Lexi popped out from the back, mouth full of chips. Say it loud, obviously. What's the point of falling in love if you're just going to hide it like leftovers in the back of the fridge? Dana nearly choked on her water, and I shot Lexi a look that could have curdled milk, but she wasn't wrong. Dana turned to me, her eyes steady now. I'm not ready to stand on a pulpit and announce it, but I'm not running anymore either. If people see us, they see us. My chest loosened, relief flooding in. That's enough for me. Lexi clapped her hands dramatically. Amen! Look at y'all making progress. Now, can we order some wings? All this emotional labor is making me hungry." We laughed, tension easing, but in the back of my mind, I knew this was just the beginning. Dana's world wasn't built to hold women like me, and Velvet Ember wasn't built for secrecy. One way or another, our love was about to be tested. The whispers had started. It wasn't a full-on scandal yet, but Atlanta churches are like high schools in choir robes. News spreads faster than the offering plate. By Wednesday, I'd already heard 2 different versions of the same rumor. Pastor Ellis was keeping late nights and seen too often downtown. At Bible study, Sister Jenkins cornered me with a fake smile so wide it could cut glass. "You look happy lately, Pastor. Must be someone special keeping you that way?" Her tone was sweet. The message underneath, "We see you, we're watching." I dodged politely, as always, but the knot in my stomach followed me home. I thought about Sloane, about the way her laugh softened me in places I didn't know were hard. I thought about what would happen if the board confronted me, or worse, if they dragged her name through the mud. That night, I told her. We were at Velvet Ember, lights low, music pulsing in the background. She leaned on the bar, curves outlined in gold glow, looking like temptation and safety all at once. "They're starting to talk," I said quietly. "About us." She didn't flinch. "Let them. You knew this would happen eventually." I did, but it's different when you're in the fire. Sloane sipped her drink, then met my gaze. "So what? Are you thinking about walking away?" The sharpness in her voice cut deep. "No," I said quickly, grabbing her hand. "Not walking away, just bracing for the fallout." She softened, squeezing back. "Dana, I've lived my whole life with people talking about my body, about my choices, about who I let close. I learned a long time ago, they don't get to decide who I love, and they damn sure don't get to scare me out of it." I exhaled, tension easing just a little. Then, of course, Lexi popped up from nowhere, holding a plate of wings. "Okay, but if the congregation starts picketing Velvet Ember, do we at least get to sell them drinks?" Asking for marketing purposes. We both laughed, breaking the heaviness, but as the night wore on, I couldn't shake the truth. Loving Sloane meant risking everything I'd built. And maybe, for the first time in my life, I was willing to. By Friday, Atlanta's rumor mill had gone from simmer to full boil. I woke up to a headline on some gossip blog that read, "Popular pastor caught in secret affair. Identity of her lover still unknown." Cute. By noon, I'd already had 2 reporters call the lounge asking if Velvet Ember was that new place with the preacher sightings. Lexi paced in front of the counter, waving her phone like a sword. "They're sniffing around, babe. Half the internet's trying to play detective. Somebody even posted a blurry photo of Dana's car parked outside last week." I rubbed my temples. "It was one time, Lex. She came in after hours." "Yeah, well, the internet doesn't do nuance," she said. "They do chaos." I stared at the phone ringing again, Dana's name lighting up the screen. My stomach twisted. If I pick up, I'm in this. For real. Lexi folded her arms. "You already are." I answered, "Dana?" Her voice was steady but tight. "The board called an emergency meeting for tomorrow. They want to discuss the rumors." "Discuss?" I echoed bitterly. "That's church code for interrogation." "I can handle it," she said, though the tremor in her tone told me she didn't believe it. "Do you want me to be there?" Silence, then a quiet, "No. They'd only twist it worse if they saw us together. Just Pray it doesn't end my career. Dana, I'll call you after, she said, and hung up before I could say I loved her. Lexi exhaled. Well, that's the sound of a woman bracing for war. I looked out across Velvet Ember, the soft lights, the music, the place I built with my own 2 hands, and felt something shift inside me. I was done letting other people dictate who I could love. Cancel the rest of the night, I told Lexi. She blinked. Why? Because if they're going to drag her name, I said, grabbing my jacket, they're going to know mine too. Lexi's grin was pure mischief. You're really about to march into the lion's den, huh? I smirked. Nah, I'm just bringing the fire. The boardroom at New Light felt smaller than usual. 10 folding chairs, a polished cross on the wall, and a half circle of people who all looked like they'd rather be anywhere else, except me. Chairman Hughes cleared his throat. Pastor Ellis, there's concern about optics. People are talking. We'd like you to clarify your relationship with this business owner downtown. I folded my hands. Her name's Sloane Carter. She owns Velvet Ember. And yes, we're together. You could have heard a pin drop, or maybe the sound of a pearl necklace clutching itself. Mrs. Jenkins gasped. You're admitting to living in sin? No, I said, calm but steady. I'm admitting to living honestly. The murmurs began, papers shuffling, a prayer whispered under someone's breath. And then, like a scene written by fate, the doors opened. Sloane stepped in. Jeans, leather jacket, confidence that could level a skyscraper. Lexi trailed behind her with a camera, whispering, for documentation purposes. Sorry to interrupt, Sloane said, eyes sweeping the room. But if you're going to talk about me, you can do it to my face. My heart stopped and started at the same time. Chairman Hughes stood, face red. Miss Carter, this is a private meeting. Then stop making public judgments, she shot back. You want to question her faith? Fine, but don't drag my name through the mud to make yourself feel righteous. Half the room looked scandalized. The other half looked secretly impressed. I rose slowly, stepping beside her. Sloane, you didn't have to. Yes, I did, she said quietly, eyes never leaving theirs. Because I'm done letting anyone make her carry the weight for both of us. Something shifted in that room. You could see it, the recognition that the 2 of us weren't going to hide anymore. Chairman Hughes adjusted his tie. Pastor Ellis, you understand the consequences? I met his gaze. I do. But my relationship doesn't change my calling. If this congregation can't handle honesty, maybe it's not faith they're protecting. Maybe it's comfort. No one had a comeback for that. When we left, the air outside was thick and hot. Sloane exhaled. Well, that went better than expected. Nobody threw holy water. I laughed, relief flooding through me. Give them time. She grinned. If they do, at least I'll bring towels. We walked away hand in hand, the city lights glinting off wet pavement. Whatever came next, gossip, backlash, or grace, we'd face it together. It's funny how quiet feels after chaos. A week had passed since the church showdown, and Atlanta had moved on to its next scandal. The bloggers stopped calling. The reporters got bored. Velvet Ember was full again, maybe fuller than before. People love a little rebellion with their cocktails. Dana still had her job. Barely. The board voted to review her position, but couldn't agree on how to fire a woman who doubled their attendance. The only condition? She maintained discretion, which was church speak for Don't give them anything else to talk about. I could live with that. We'd been keeping things low-key, date nights in, no public hand-holding, lots of late talks on my couch. But that night, I caught Dana standing in the kitchen, barefoot, wearing my hoodie, humming some gospel melody under her breath while stirring sugar into her tea. It hit me like lightning. I'd been in love before, but not like this. "Can I ask you something?" I said. She looked up. "Always." "What happens if they push harder? If they try to make you choose again?" Dana smiled faintly. "Then I'll remind them I already did." I walked over, resting my forehead against hers. "You sure about that?" She brushed a thumb along my jaw. "Surer than I've been about anything in a long time." And for the first time in weeks, I believed it. Lexi barged in right then because, of course she did. "I swear, y'all got more tension in this kitchen than a season finale." I laughed. "Can you not narrate our love life like it's a TV show?" She snatched a fry off my plate. "Fine, but when y'all get married, I'm giving a speech." Dana chuckled. Lord help us all. The three of us ate, laughed, and let the noise fill the empty spaces where fear used to live. Later, after Lexi left, Dana and I sat on the balcony. The city lights glowed beneath us like a heartbeat. "Think they'll ever stop talking?" she asked. I shrugged. "Probably not, but let 'em. The world's gonna gossip no matter what. At least now they're talking about something true." She leaned against me, quiet for a while. Then she whispered, "Maybe truth's all the sermon we ever needed." I smiled. Amen to that. If someone told me a few months ago that church gossip would turn Velvet Ember into one of Atlanta's hottest lounges, I'd have laughed. Yet, here we were. Packed house, music humming, people snapping selfies under the neon sign that now read, "Truth tastes better." Dana called it poetic justice. Lexi called it marketing. I called it survival. Word had spread that the preacher and the lounge owner hadn't gone under. They'd doubled down. Folks who'd once whispered started showing up, curious. Some came to judge, most stayed for the drinks. Even a few church ladies started sliding through in their Sunday hats, ordering mocktails and saying things like, "We just wanted to see if the rumors were true, baby." They were. Dana sat in the corner booth most nights, grading notes on her tablet between smiles at me. Every time our eyes met, I felt grounded again. No spotlight, no shame, just peace. That night, Lexi burst from the back room grinning like a cat who'd found the cream. "Guess who's outside?" Before I could ask, the door opened, and there she was. Chef Nia Robinson, in a crisp white tee and new ink climbing her forearm. "Long time, boss lady," she said, walking in with her usual smooth confidence. "Look what the kitchen dragged in," I teased, hugging her. "You disappear and pop back up looking brand new." She laughed. "Been busy. Opened my own spot. Smoke and Soul Catering. You'd be proud." "I am proud." I meant it. Lexi clapped like a proud auntie. "See? Growth! Black excellence! Y'all better not fight again or I'm charging admission." Chef shook her head. "No fights. I just came to drop off an invitation." She handed me a card. Soft opening. Smoke and Soul Catering Friday. "Bring your girl," she added with an easy smile. "And tell her no sermons. Just good food." Dana joined us then, polite but relaxed. They shook hands. No tension this time. Just quiet respect between two women who'd both loved me in their own way. Chef winked. Don't mess this up, preacher. She's one of a kind. Dana grinned. Trust me, I know. The night rolled on in laughter and music. Somewhere between Lexi's bad karaoke and the crowd chanting for one more song, I looked around and realized this was what rebuilding looked like. Not perfect, but whole. When we finally closed up, Dana and I stood outside watching the city buzz. She slipped her arm around my waist. Think it's over? She asked. I smiled. No, I think it's finally starting. Smoke and Soul's soft opening smelled like heaven. Barbecue, brown sugar, and confidence. Nia's place was tucked off Edgewood, part restaurant, part event space, and fully hers. When Sloane and I walked in, the room went still for half a beat, the kind of pause people take before deciding if they should stare or smile. Then the music kicked back in, and the crowd parted like we belonged there all along. Chef spotted us and grinned. You made it! I was about to send Lexi to drag y'all in. Lexi popped out from the buffet line, holding a plate the size of a steering wheel. Already here, quality control. We laughed. The tension that once shadowed every meeting between Nia and me was gone, replaced with something that looked suspiciously like friendship. I offered my hand. Congratulations, Nia. This is beautiful. She shook it, eyes bright. Told you I'd make something of it, and look at you. No lightning bolts hit you on the way in. Progress. Sloane rolled her eyes affectionately. Behave. She's still technically holy. I grinned. Technically. The night was loud and warm and full. People from every corner of the city. Church folks, creatives, couples, even some of the board members who'd once questioned my choices showed up to support. Maybe they were curious, maybe they were hungry, maybe they'd just realized that love hadn't destroyed anything after all. Halfway through the evening, Nia grabbed the mic. Y'all know I couldn't have done this without my people. Sloane, thank you for teaching me how to run a business with backbone. Pastor Ellis, thank you for proving that grace ain't confined to a pulpit. And Lexi, well, thanks for eating half my inventory. The room erupted in laughter and applause. Later, while the band played something soft and old school, Sloane and I stepped outside. The smell of smoke and sweet sauce hung in the air. Feels good, doesn't it? She said. Yeah, I answered, like we finally exhaled. She leaned against me. You think this is our happy ending? I shook my head, smiling. No, just the beginning of the good part. Inside, Lexi whooped as Nia passed her another plate. The night pulsed with music, laughter, and the smell of something real cooking. Second chances. Velvet Ember felt different these days, less like a hiding place and more like home. The chatter was familiar, the scent of bourbon and citrus hung in the air, and every table carried a little story that wasn't mine to fix. Business was booming, but something inside me still itched for more. Growth. Change. Maybe it was all the interviews asking how the pastor and the boss lady couple made it work. Or maybe it was watching Dana blossom again, speaking at community events, organizing fundraisers, finding her voice on her own terms. She'd been offered a new gig, a non-denominational outreach program downtown focused on youth mentorship. No judgment, no board politics, just service. The old Dana might have hesitated. This one simply said, "Let's see where it goes." Meanwhile, Lexi had been whispering business expansion in my ear for weeks. Velvet Ember Southside, she'd say between bites of fries. Velvet Ember Pop-Up, she'd add while scrolling her phone. Today, she went for broke. Velvet Ember Podcast, We spill tea while rolling cigars. Instant hit. Girl, I groaned, you can barely roll receipts. Exactly why you need me, she shot back, grinning. Dana laughed from behind the bar. She's got a point, babe. You've built a brand. Maybe it's time to make it bigger. I looked around at the lounge. The people, the laughter, the way life kept filling every corner, no matter how much noise the world made outside. Maybe they were right. All right, I said finally. But if we do this, we do it smart. No gimmicks. Velvet Ember stays about connection, not clout. Lexi raised her glass. To connection. Dana raised hers. To growth. And I, smiling, raised mine last. To love that doesn't apologize. The clink of glasses felt like a promise. Outside, Atlanta's skyline shimmered bold and alive. Inside, the little fire we started months ago burned steady, no longer hiding, no longer fighting to stay lit. Just glowing. 6 months later, everything felt different. Still loud, still alive, but lighter. The gossip had died down, replaced by something rarer. Respect. My new youth outreach center opened last week. No pulpit, no choir, just couches, books, and a safe place for kids who didn't fit anywhere else. Sloane helped design it. Warm lighting, mural by a local artist, coffee that didn't taste like sin. When the ribbon cut, half the neighborhood showed up, including a few of my old deacons pretending they were just curious. After the ceremony, one of the teens asked, Pastor D, why'd you leave the church? I smiled. Didn't leave, just brought it here. Later that night, I went back to Velvet Ember. Sloane was sketching floor plans on napkins again, Lexi leaning over her shoulder with a smoothie and too much commentary. Southside locations a go, Sloane said, eyes bright. Leasing papers come next week. Lexi raised her smoothie. And we're calling the first cocktail Holy Water 2.0. Dana groaned. You're going to get me excommunicated again. Sloane laughed, tossing a napkin at her. She's kidding. Mostly. Chef walked in just then, carrying a tray of new dessert samples. Peace offerings, she announced, and an invite. Smoke and Soul just booked its first citywide food festival. I want y'all there. They toasted to it, new beginnings, layered on old scars. When the crowd thinned and the lights dimmed, Sloane and I stepped onto the balcony again, our ritual spot. The skyline glowed. Thunder rumbled far away but never broke. You realize we built all this out of chaos? She murmured. Grace, I corrected. Chaos just did the heavy lifting. She smiled, resting her head on my shoulder. Think we're finally good? I looked out at the city we'd fought to call home. Yeah, good, and still growing. The night Velvet Ember Southside opened, the city felt different, alive in that something new is being born kind of way. Lights pulsed through the big front windows, laughter spilled into the parking lot, and the smell of good food from Chef Nia's catering truck wrapped the whole block in comfort. Dana was in the corner booth, greeting people like a calm storm in a linen blazer. Her mentorship kids had shown up too, half of them working the event, half of them dancing in front of the stage Lexi had somehow convinced me to install. Lexi herself? She was leaving next week. Some entertainment network had spotted her comedy clips online and offered her a producing gig in L.A. She'd told me she'd think about it, but the sparkle in her eyes already said yes. When the music slowed, Dana pulled me toward the back patio. The crowd noise faded behind us. The sky was that perfect deep indigo that only shows up when summer's flirting with fall. You built this, she said. Twice. I smiled. We built it. You gave me backbone when I thought I was done. She laughed softly. You already had one. I just reminded you it was there. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The city hummed, the sign outside glowed, and the fire pit crackled between us, the same symbol that started it all. So, she said, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. What do we call this chapter? I looked around at everything we'd survived. The scandal, the silence, the rebuilding, the love that refused to die down. After the fire, I said, because it's still warm, but it doesn't burn anymore. She kissed me, slow and sure, and the crowd inside cheered without even knowing why. Later, when Lexi took the mic for one last toast before heading west, she said exactly what I didn't know how to second chances, louder love, and women who build empires out of ashes. And for once, I didn't roll my eyes. I just raised my glass, clinked hers, and let the heat of the moment settle into something steady, something like forever.